Hey everybody, it's Charles for Premier Guitar, and I'm here with one of the real legends in this business. This is Seymour Duncan, and he's got a new humbucker this year that he's going to tell us about. But first, if I may ask you, how you been?
I'm doing great. You know, we're having a great show this year. Fantastic. And for me, you know, this is my 37th year of doing NAMM shows, you know. So I've met so many people in my lifetime doing this show. And for me, it's so neat seeing just old friends I haven't seen like in a year or 5 years or 20 or 30, 37 years, you know, which is pretty amazing. And but you know, the part I enjoyed was when I worked in England and everything. And I went over because I loved, you know, Jimmy Page. You know, Jeff Beck was my main guy. You know, I loved him. Eric Clapton. I loved groups like a guy by the name of Chris Rea, who to me is one of my favorite artists and everything. The band Free with Paul Kossoff. I was working with T-Rex, and one day I'm working, and I was actually recording. I was doing an album with this guy named Chris Harley, who became he was in the band Camel, and he was a singer for Alan Parsons Project and everything. And then one day I saw a paper that Fender Soundhouse was opening up on Tottenham Court Road in London. And it was run by Ivor Arbiter, who was a distributor for Fender in England. And they were going to open up a cool shop, which had like a roadie room. It had the repair shop. And I was working with, I saw an ad in the paper. This manager I was working with said, "Seymour, look, here's somebody, you know, you record at night, man, you could maybe get a job during the day working, you know." And so I went down there and I met this guy, Ron Roca, and I started doing all these guitar repairs. And we were working for Robert Palmer, Quiver, I mean, just all the main bands, Supertramp, you know, they would come in all the time. And I was working with the Who, the Rolling Stones, worked with a guy named Alan Rogan, who's like the tech of all techs, you know. And so with him, it was really neat. But I was doing a lot of rewinding. I didn't have molds or anything for my own pickups at the time. So I was doing the rewinds, and it was actually, I would get a humbucker here, humbucker there. You know, I worked with Paul Kossoff, Mark Bowen, T-Rex. You know, I was doing a lot of work for him, you know, rewinds. I worked for Golden Earring. They did Radar Love, you know. So that was some of my first pickups that I had rewound over there, working for those guys. I was doing some rewinds back in Cincinnati, where I had come from. I was working with Joe Walsh and guys like the Lemon Pipers had a song called
Green Tambourine.
Yeah, you got it, you know. And Bill Bartlett's just a fantastic player, you know, real cool player. And him and I were like, you know, we were just really cool how we liked each other. Then Joe Walsh used to come down from Cleveland, and him and I were the only two guys playing Yardbird songs. Because I love the Yardbirds. You know, we was doing Train Kept A-Rollin', I'm a Man, all this stuff, you know, and Heart Full of Soul. So Joe and I became very good friends, and he got me into ham radio. So right after that, I had moved to London to travel over there and meet up with this Chris Harley guy and everything. And so we started recording for Polydor Records, and I was going around the club seeing Brian Auger and just all these great bands, man, Bebop Deluxe, and just so many great bands. But then I would get guitars brought to me, and here's this somebody's guitar, here's Jeff's guitar, you know, and I was doing all mods and fixing magnets and calibrating magnets, rewinding coils. I made a real nice hand winding machine and everything over there. So I started working on some pretty big profile artists, you know, and did this rewind for some of these bands that were doing some just incredible, you know, Yardbird songs, and then they started their own band, you know. And I met a guy named Terry Reid, who was a great singer on his own right, you know. And he was going to be the original singer in this band called Led Zeppelin, but he suggested this guy named Robert Plant, you know, which was so cool. And then while working over there, Jeff Beck gave me his old Esquire from the Yardbirds, which I was so stoked about and everything. And I was just, I couldn't believe it, for one thing, because that was like my favorite guitar. And I built a guitar for Jeff called the Telegib, which was used on the Blow by Blow album, and he did Cause We Ended His Lovers, which he got a Grammy for, and he was working with George Martin. So to me, that was so cool. And then Jeff gave me this old beat up guitar. It was in a burlap bag, I swear to God. It had like 3 necks.
I didn't know about the bag.
Yeah, it was 3 bodies, and his manager Ralph Baker brought this bag in with all these things, and Ralph said, Jeff said, man, take your pick. There was a 51 Telly, there was a 54 Strat, and there was the 54 Esquire. And man, I saw the Esquire. I said, that guitar is the thing for me. The other guitars probably more valuable, better looking, and all this stuff. But I said, man, what about this one? And he says, yeah, that's fine. And so I got the old Esquire from Jeff, which is now in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland, because I wanted other people to see this cool guitar, So, but working in England, doing a lot of sessions and working with, Pagey and Clapton and Beck and Ivor Arbiter, I had like carte blanche to working with these great artists. I would go to all these cool shows.
Cool guitars.
Oh my gosh, man! Yeah. And I was working with Mick Grabham, who was in Procol Harum. He had a beautiful '59 Les Paul, and then Jeff's guitars and everything that he did. But I did a lot of work for Jimmy Page and stuff, And
so does all that have something to do with how you got to this place here?
Right. Yeah.
What is this we're looking at?
This is called a Whole Lot of Love pickup. It's called, the Whole Lot of Humbucker, which for me is a cool little play on words, I guess. But it has a certain whine, certain magnet calibration and everything that we've done on it. And this artist has been using it for a long time, still on his guitar, And I went down to work on his #1 Les Paul, and I pull it out, and there's my little writing on the back of it, which was so cool, So I don't know what I can really say about this. I can't really say names, I guess, but people would know probably what it is and everything. But the thing,
think you nailed it with this?
Oh well, yeah, it's really cool. Yeah, I mean, it has the short legs on it, and it's just an adorable pickup because some of these guys just play so much. So we're using certain plastics and everything for the bobbins, and using my old specs and everything that when I would wind stuff for some of these artists, and it's neat doing something for an artist to pay homage to him and everything too, which to me is important, and the tone, the articulation, which is important, and how when you hit it a little bit harder, it'll just break up really nice and everything, and if you want to use a violin bow with it, sounds fantastic, you got all that stuff, but I respect these players, and there's so many great guys out there who were my heroes growing up, and this is like my homage, like I said, to them, and I'm proud to have done it.
You've done a lot of pickups in your time, and this one's actually really, really special to you.
It's voiced a certain way, for a certain kind of tone. It's not a real loud pickup. It's not too dark. It's not too bright, but it's just has a nice tone to it. And whatever you put this into, the amplifier is just going to make it more of it, which is so cool, and that's what I try to stress to young players. If you get a pickup that's so overwound that no matter what amp you put it in, it's just going to overdrive the input stage or whatever. But something like this it just has a tone to it, and then you can enhance it by effects pedals or whatever you're using. And if you want to use a Univibe, the old memory. Do you remember those at all? You do, yeah. They were fantastic, And I used to work with Robin Trower all the time, and he'd had like 8 of them he'd bring in the shop, and we'd be changing the pots on them all the time or fixing something on them. And but to me, it was pretty fantastic having a chance to be over there. I mean, I loved it. I was at Free, Paul Kossoff's last gig when he played with Paul Rogers and everything, and I saw a band called Stray Dog with Snuffy Walden, and that was a fantastic band. To me, they're still fantastic. And
this is the sum of that experience. This is like London in right. Magnets and wire. Yeah, there's my Seymour in London.
My old mag days. Yeah, my mod. I looked pretty moddy there. I was like 17 there. Yeah, I'll say. But
too bad we can't see the suit and tie.
Oh, you can see the pants. Oh yeah. Oh man, the pants are like white striped pants. I mean,
is that up on your website?
Somewhere, I think they probably have it somewhere. Yeah.
Get that up on your website.
It's funny.
What is that, by the way?
What's that?
Your website.
Oh, it's SeymourDuncan.com. We have a great Facebook page, Seymour Duncan. Facebook.com, Seymour Duncan, and I think we have a bunch. We got the Twitter. We got the now they're doing the what's that photo thing they're doing?
Telepathy?
No. Instagram. Yeah, Instagram. Everybody's talking about that here at the NAMM show.
I'll tell these people to go check out your Instagram account if you can promise that the pants are going to be on there.
I will make sure they're on there. They're great, man. I like
Heard
the
it.
suit. I mean, the suit that I had was fantastic, man. I found it in Lima, Ohio, in a used shop, and it was a suit from like the 30s. Yeah. But a great suit, man. I mean, it looked really good, and I had a good time. And that's when I met Jimi Hendrix too. I wore that suit.
That man knew a good suit.
Yeah.
All right. So you heard it from the man himself. If you want to go see Seymour Duncan's suit and his pants
And my white pants. Man.
and this right here, go to SeymourDuncan.com. The whole lot of humbucker. Thanks a lot, Seymour. Cheers, man. It's a pleasure. This is Charles signing off for PremierGuitar.com.